Subscribe and hit the bell icon and never miss another video.
I went in with a breast and I came out with a breast.
Does it feel very different?
I feel like a nourish because it's nice and more round and, and beautiful. I chose to have a reconstruction, but I totally respect women who choose otherwise.
The list of things you do is so long, I'm going to have to read it, okay? Because you're a director, you've been a professor, you've authored and co-authored books, you're a mother of 2, which is a really serious job to begin with. And now you're actually actively speaking to raise awareness about cancer, of course. And everyone can agree you're strong, badass, and inspiring. I'm sitting next to you and, knowing that you've gone through so much, it feels like you've just, gotten past it and are even more full of life and exuberant. When you were diagnosed, what was your reaction?
Honestly speaking, I never expected it would happen to me. It happened to me when I was 35. I started feeling heavy in the breast, which I celebrated. Honestly, I was like, yes, size is increasing and everything. So we all fantasize big boobs, at least I did for the longest time.
Same.
But I thought the other one will catch up sooner or later.
Yeah.
And of course that wasn't happening, and then I started having another symptom, which is I started getting a secretion is when I went to the doctor. But the sad part is, despite having so much of education and working, yet I sat over my symptoms for 2 months.
Right. Even for me, psychologically, I won't do that check as often because I'm scared to find something.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, the worst thing to do in that sense.
Yeah, I have actually met a lot of people who belong to this category as well.
Yeah.
And then there was this category who was so oblivious to things. So for me, it was never on top of my mind because I didn't know any family member or relative who had cancer.
Right.
Which goes on to say that it's not that they didn't have, they did not express it.
Yeah.
And once I put it out there in the world, I got all sorts of calls and I was like, where were you all when I was a kid? I needed to know that things like this do happen and I should have a check. Is why I took this out in the public and I started talking about it, and it's become my mission in life to spread awareness about early breast cancer detection, awareness and self-love. So having that fear psychosis that it can happen to me, or if I go for a checkup, that should not bog you down. I think being intelligent is the way to be. And if God forbid if something comes up, then it's at an early stage because you've actually gone for a detection. If it's got at an early stage, then it's just not treatable, it's curable.
I think one of the things that happens with all of us is also, there's still a stigma attached. Like we don't even say the word breast out loud, much less breast cancer.
Yes.
Did you feel stigmatized at all when you talked about it?
So I never thought that I'm going to share this with the world.
Yeah.
Because whatever problem happens to you is for you to deal with it, right? I was complying to it for the longest time. And then because I was in the hospital for about a week or 10 days and I was meeting my doctors, and when they started talking about so many cases going wrong just because of the stigma and taboo, it costed them lives. India is a majorly patriarchal society. So for women to express, and I'm so glad you have this girls' tribe where people actually express it to each other. That's the kind of support that every woman gets in every household, but unfortunately that's not the case. That's when I decided that I need to change things within my own life first. That's why I shared it with the public, and I'm so glad that it was taken in the right spirit.
We all talk about, come out and speak about it.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for the ones that can't do it?
Best way to deal with it is embrace it and then determine that you're going to come out of it. And I have been on the other end of the spectrum too. It's not that I was always happy. In fact, I was deep down in the depths of despair 3 years back, and I have managed to pull myself up. When I encountered a beautiful philosophy, I chant, I practice Nichiren's Buddhism, and that's when there was a whole lot of clarity which came in my life. And clarity was as simple as, we are born to be happy. We're not born to suffer.
We all know Ayushmann, your husband, has been super supportive, but that year he was so busy. So as a couple, how did you deal with that?
Like I said, once you have a shift in perspective, then you start looking at the glass which is always half full instead of half empty.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking that, my husband is now, usko apni movie ki padi bhi hai, ye padi bhi hai, main yahan par mar rahi hu. Whatever is there for me to endure, I have to endure. His presence is always more than welcome, but at this point of time, there are a lot of lives that he has committed himself to, and I really value him as a professional. So he used to do his promotions in the morning, and at night he used to come back and sleep in the hospital.
How did you distract yourself through it all? It must have
Netflix.
Yeah. Nice. You started a podcast called My Express.
So Guneet Monga messaged me out of nowhere, and she was like, I really want to connect with you. So we both hang out for the longest time. We talk. She's telling me about her struggles, and I'm telling her about my ordeal as such.
Yeah.
And after the meeting, she just messages me, I just think you need to put this out, and should we go ahead and make a podcast? I had determined that I'm going to exploit every medium available to me to spread the message of early breast cancer detection and awareness. And that's how my ex breast came into being. It's almost like having a problem like how your boyfriend is and he becomes your ex. I hope you listen to it. Please listen.
Absolutely. I think especially for women it becomes a very difficult thing to deal with the physical changes, like losing your hair, losing your breasts. So how did you deal with that?
Cancer did not devastate me as much as a mastectomy did, which is so stupid and sad, but that was the first reaction, and I know that's the first reaction for any girl and any woman. So I was in the hospital in front of my doctor, and that's when he said, you'll have to undergo a mastectomy, and that's when I was numb and crushed, and that's when my husband came into being. And I really, really wish that every cancer patient gets that kind of support like I did from my husband. He did not flinch once. Like, I know him for the past 18 years. I would know when he's acting or he's trying to cover up his discomfort. He was like, are you mad? This is what is getting to you. What's more important? And when I saw this support from the person who matters to me the most, I was like, yeah, what's more important? And then of course I'm young, so we went on to get a reconstruction in the same surgery, and I went in with a breast and I came out with a breast.
Does it feel very different?
I feel like a nouveau riche because it's nice and more round and, and beautiful. Look at us, we're talking about breasts. And I actually told my doctor, I was like, now you have an opportunity, increase it by 3 sizes up. But he did not, so he just matched it up to my humble breast that I had on the other side. And so now I have 2 identical breasts like how it was. I chose to have a reconstruction, but I totally respect women who choose otherwise.
Yeah, fair enough. What is something that you wish somebody had said to you, or something that you want to say to people who are now battling this?
I would want everybody to get that sort of a support system like I did. And it's not just your husband and your parents, of course, they matter to you, but society at large. They need to give you, support you with a lot of love and happiness. And the person who's going through it really should try and push yourself and maintain a high life state, because you can do it.
You can do it. Yeah, you can do it. I know we've read all those little, here's how you do the self-exam, but can you shed some light on what other things we should be doing preemptively?
You know how your normal breast feels. And in case you have a doubt, just go to a physician, get it examined. Nothing is more important. Your children's parent-teacher meeting or your husband's tiffin or your own work is not as important as your health. Please prioritize your appointment over and above everything else. I feel having a positive outlook, not towards just life, but towards yourself, really, really matters. Being happy is something which we are meant to be. It is something that our body accepts. When we are negative, there's so much of anxiety, your heart is beating, you're not comfortable with yourself. The idea is to really be happy, have gratitude, and we all are truly blessed.
You're so effervescent, so much positivity, and you are exuding so much joy. For someone who's gone through so much, it's super inspiring. And thank you, Access Life, for making this possible. Access Life does so much to support child cancer awareness. And Yazoo, thanks for hosting us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.